Hey everybody, I'm Tatiana. Welcome back to Lux Biz. Today I have the privilege of having Cherry DeVries here with me. She is an Amazon success story. She is a mompreneur and speaker here at SellerCon in Orlando 2018. Charity, thank you so much for being here.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so maybe we can just start off by sharing your story. I know that you're a mom of two. You started about 2.5 years ago. Maybe you can take us back to that moment when you first got into learning about selling on Amazon, how you discovered it, and what made you take that leap?
Yeah. So when I first kind of heard about selling on Amazon, it was my husband that kind of brought the idea up into the forefront. And we've had some other friends that we've known that have sold products on Amazon, and I just really didn't even understand what I didn't even understand the concept. What are you selling? How does that work? And so I didn't, words like private label or any of that were completely foreign concepts. And I had no clue or no understanding of how all of that even worked. And so it was with a lot of fear and trepidation that we even kind of jumped into this business. And in fact, my husband, for probably a year prior to us even starting, would, every time we get in the car, he'd have on a podcast about selling on Amazon or something like that. And so, it was really kind of a long process for me to finally jump on board and to be like, okay, let's go ahead and let's do this. But once that we got started and I started seeing the possibilities, I started seeing other success stories of what people were able to do. I just knew that this was going to be a great way for me to be able to contribute, but also do what I really wanted to do, and being a mom and being involved in our community and things like that.
Right. So what were you doing before Amazon? Were you a full-time mom, or did you have your own job?
So I was a full-time mom, but I also just kind of tried to do things here and there that I could do from home. I helped some businesses just with some social media content, because that was something I could do from home that was really easy. The worst thing that I ever did was getting involved in a laundry business where I would pick up laundry from people that wanted somebody else to do their laundry and then do their laundry and then return it to them a few days later. So I was doing lots and lots of laundry in addition to our own family's laundry. So there were so many things that I was just trying to do because I wanted to contribute as best as I could without sacrificing having to go into a full-time work situation and not be with my kids.
Right. So, a lot of people find that when they start their Amazon businesses, it's just hard to juggle, time management. And especially if you have children, you want to be there when you have free time, you want to spend it with them. So how did you manage all that?
Yeah. So I got up early in the mornings a lot, and I stayed up late at night a lot. I did obviously sacrifice some sleep doing that, but it wasn't like I was only sleeping 3 or 4 hours a night. I would still go to bed by 10, but I'd be up by 5 or 5:30, so I could have some time in the morning when the house was quiet, the kids were still sleeping, to do, some things and get some work done. At that point, I did have one child in school full days, and then I had one child in school in preschool, just mornings. So there was sometimes I was able to utilize that time that they were in school, at least for the morning part, to be able to focus on some things. So a lot of it was just either early mornings, evenings, or when they were in school, because I really didn't want to let this business be something that took time away from them.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, everyone kind of has this struggle with time management, but there's always a way to, if you really want something, you got to make the way. And, maybe it is to sacrifice a little bit of time in the morning. You can't sleep in as much, or you can't watch a movie at nighttime. So I love that you did make that sacrifice, and it paid off for you really nicely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how many hours would you say that you spend on your business now?
Yeah, oh my goodness, that's such an interesting question. It really depends upon where we're at. Okay. So if we are launching a new product, then obviously we're kind of spending more time. When we're not launching a new product, so we just launched a new product about 3 weeks ago, so now we're kind of just in coast mode. So here at SellerCon, my husband's here, my kids are here, we're gonna go play. And being here, literally maybe an hour a day, that we're having to spend on our business. So once that you kind of build this business into a place where it goes into more of a maintenance mode, then the time involved to keep it going is way less than when you're initially kind of starting that fire.
Yeah, that's so true. I recall it takes time in the beginning, and you do need to invest many hours and do a lot of tedious tasks. But once you get the ball rolling, once the listing's up there and you're getting those consistent sales, then it becomes a lot easier and you don't have to kind of do too much.
Right.
Yeah. And so you're taking your children to Disney World
Yes,
tomorrow,
we're going
so
to Disney.
Having time to do all those things is really awesome. Yeah, and then, I would ask you, what was the biggest struggle that you had with when you first started? And I know that now you have, I think, was it 13 products that you said?
We have about 15 products total.
Wow.
Yeah.
So maybe you can take us back maybe to the first product, and from there, was it a consistent struggle with each product, or you just kind of learned lessons every time, or how did it work for you?
Yeah. So the interesting thing is that with our first product and then considering adding a second product, it became actually exponentially easier every time we added a product, because from that very first product, we put things in place where we started building things like an email list, social media. So when we went to go launch that second product, we had an email list to at least send information to that, hey, we have another product available. It was a really small list, but we at least had something to get the word out versus when we were starting from scratch and we just had nothing other than, maybe running some Facebook advertising. So as we've built each product now, when we launch, it's like the time involved is so much less than what it was when we very first started, because we're able to send out emails. Our email list now is so large, we can't actually send to it all at once, or else we would kind of get too many sales at once, which it is a good problem to have. And so, you want those consistent sales over time. And so we have to just send it out in segments where we, send the list to the first group and then the next, and then we segment it about 5 times to be able to get the consistent sales that we want over that time period. So it's gotten exponentially easier every time we've added products.
Yeah, and I know that, when people sell a product on Amazon, you are very limited with communication that you can have with your customer. You can basically just email them within the Amazon Seller Central platform. Amazon doesn't want to give you their email because it's their customer and they don't want you to take their customers. So you talk a lot about branding. Your speech today was about branding. So maybe you can share why that is important and how you started to funnel people into an email list, because some people have no idea how to take people from Amazon and bring them to an email list.
Yeah. So one of the strategies that we've used to build our email list is just with having a product insert, encouraging people to register their product. We actually give people a lifetime warranty on their product if they register it with us. So for us, it would be much better to even have to replace that product at no cost to the customer, to be able to get that email list and bring that customer over to make that customer truly our customer. And so that's one way that we've kind of built our email list. And then the importance of really just building a brand and having these brand assets of having an email list is I like to use the analogy of it's like putting a coat on your business, because we all go through seasons and our business goes through seasons. And so sometimes it's going to be winter and it's going to be a little chilly and the sales are going to be slow. And so when you have things like a social media following that you can give information to, when you have an email list that you can present your product to be able to get those sales in and to be able to get that extra revenue during those down times, it's like just having that insulating coat around your business.
Yeah, that's amazing. So do you sell primarily on Amazon, but also on your website?
Yeah, so we sell on 4 different platforms total. So we sell on Amazon, we sell on eBay, we sell on Etsy, and then we sell on our own website as well.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, so you're really diversified. So you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. If, for some reason your Amazon listing got shut down, you're not dependent on that income from Amazon.
Right, we have other sources. Amazon's still the lion's share of our business, obviously, because it's Amazon. But we do have other options, we have other sources, not just Amazon.
Right. So at what point did you know that, okay, it's time to move on to a different platform? Was it a certain number?
That's a great question, and that's a question that we kind of answer for a lot of people because it's a very common question. So what we tell people is consider moving off of Amazon once that you are selling very well on Amazon. And how do we define very well? What that really means is you're on page 1 for the keywords that you really need to be ranking for. And when you're in that position and you've been able to maintain that rank, you're not bouncing back and forth, or one day you're on page 1, then one day you're on page 3. But once that you're like in that place where you want to be and it's very, very consistent, then it's time to look at expanding.
Right. And then you said you have 15 products. Are they all within the same niche?
They are within the same niche. They are under the same brand umbrella.
Okay.
So because of that, again, we're catering to the same customer base. And so that's what's really good being able to help us is every time we come out with a new product, we know it's a product that our tribe's going to love because it's in that particular niche. And so we also built a reputation for quality. So when our tribe knows, hey, they have a new product, they know it's something they're going to love. It's something that's going to be quality and not just another widget.
Right. And then when you're picking your products, are you just following the ASM criteria, or what are your key attributes for a great product?
Yeah. So when we first did, yes, we followed the ASM criteria because we just wanted to really be in that safe zone, right? As we started adding products, we went outside of that a little bit because we knew that we have an email list, we have social media, like we have other ways to market this than just what is on Amazon. But one thing we still always look for is we look for demand, right? You can't go create demand when there's not demand for something, or come up with some kind of new product and then try to make people understand what it does or how it works. So we always still look for products that there's a demand for. We don't try to reinvent the wheel, but what we really try to do is maybe take a product that there's demand for, and then we look at how can we make this better? And then we work with our suppliers to make modifications to where then ours really is the one to have.
Right, yeah, that's awesome. I did the same thing actually with my product. I first found it because it was something that was essential, it was something I was using. I private labeled it, and every month I started kind of making improvements, and now it's very unique and specialized and all that. Yeah. So do you have any advice for any kind of new Amazon sellers, anyone who's just starting out, any pieces of advice for them?
Yeah. So basically, I guess what I would really say is to just keep moving forward, to take action every day. You are going to run into situations that are discouraging. I mean, I remember the very first 1-star review we received. It was hard to not just like take that personal and be like, my life is over. But to not let those things that would feel discouraging actually be discouraging to where it knocks you down. But to just keep moving forward. Product selection, so many times I see people get so stuck there, and I'm like, just keep moving forward. Just, pick something, and as long as it fits the criteria, move forward with that thing. So just don't get stuck.
Yeah, that's great advice. I guess my last question for you is just, maybe you can share with everyone, how did, taking ASM, the course, or maybe just selling online in general and being an entrepreneur, how did that change your life? And how's your life different than 2.5 years ago?
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, just when I look back and I think about, like, my life's completely different. I mean, obviously I'm not doing laundry for other people.
Yeah, you're a speaker here at this event.
And so I was on stage today speaking. My husband and I shared the stage yesterday to be on a panel talking about just partnerships and how do you operate your business in a partnership situation. One of our biggest goals that we had when we kind of even just first started this business is we wanted to buy a motorhome because we wanted to be able to travel in the summers with our kids, because being an entrepreneur meant location freedom, as well as time freedom. And you can get an internet connection anywhere. So that was one of the things we wanted to do, was be able to make memories with our kids while they're still young and before that they turn into teenagers and mom and dad aren't cool anymore. And so we were able to make that happen. And last summer we did a little bit of traveling. We bought our motorhome midsummer. And so this summer we'll be pretty much just gone all summer long, but we'll be able to still work. But the time freedom and the location freedom was something that we would have never had, and that we didn't have when we started 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, so it gave you the ability to create memories and spend quality time with family, which is so valuable.
Absolutely.
Charity, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. And you've added tremendous value to our audience today. And thank you guys for watching. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment down below and we will get back to you.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Really inspiring. I think it's good for people to hear that. People are very...
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching, and if you want to get started with your Amazon FBA business today, then I'm going to send you some free video training, just so you get a better understanding of how this whole process works, more of a step-by-step, in-depth guide, so that you can also enjoy this abundant internet lifestyle. So to gain access, all you got to do is go to luxhealth.com/onlinebiz, enter your name and your email address and subscribe, and immediately I'm going to send you your first training. But if you don't get that email right away, sometimes it goes to the spam folder. Sometimes you have to opt into the mailing list, so just be aware of that. And don't worry, I'm not going to spam you, but I will be sending you several emails over the course of several weeks, just because I don't want to bombard you with information, too much information at once. You're going to get into analysis paralysis. So look out for my emails, valuable content for you to get started on Amazon, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye guys.